So, what do we got here? Guys are out across the street. You hear them? They're in there. Whacking over here. They're in the park, my park. I like to sit in over there. Alright, so I'm gonna walk back and start talking about what happened yesterday. Yesterday was an exciting day. So yesterday, what did we do? Hung out with them and I want to just sit. This is a good sitting spot. This is better. It's more private. Whatever. It's too complicated when I'm walking and talking and doing all this stuff at the same time. Alright. So yesterday, is it too noisy over here? Whatever. Distractions are good. You know, whatever. You guys are gonna be the little distracted. That's good. Everybody should be distracted when they're learning things. Like as if you're doodling a little picture right here while I'm drawing, right? Get out your little drawing pad and start your doodling, because I'm gonna start my rambling, right? And doodling and rambling, I think, go well together. I think, maybe, whatever, probably. Whenever people ramble, I always doodle, and it goes pretty well for me. So now I'm rambling, and so now you can doodle, or I'm doodling with my rambling. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But yesterday, had a very big day. Okay, let's start it off with the real big part, right? My really big accomplishment yesterday was introducing people to the Grove. I didn't know yesterday was a Grove theme. I actually meant to move my house yesterday, and moving my house would start up my own personal Grove again, because I need to get my house set up, right? But actually, it was more important for me to do to bringing people to the real Grove, actually, to my big Grove, the 15-footer, the Atlanta Grove, right? The Beltline Grove. So the Beltline Grove is my favorite, biggest, largest grove with the most energy been put into it. A grove, to review, is a rock circle based on ancient traditions. In the rock circle is functional though, okay? It's not just for aesthetics. It's beautiful and it's impressive in its aesthetics, but it's not just for aesthetics, right? Just like my head is not just inside these air conditioners. My head is not a filter. It has a purpose. No, it does not, actually. It's just an illusion. Do not worry, I'm not an air conditioner. Do not worry. I have not turned into an air conditioner. It's just an illusion. Don't be fooled. Oh, it's getting so loud over here. You're like, what are you even saying, Nick? I cannot hear you. Move. Okay, I'm going to move and tell you about the Grove, okay? Move and tell you about the Grove. Maybe I'll stand up, do a little stand-a-risky over here. Have a little stand. Okay, here's a little, I'll sit right here. Less noise. Now I have yellow. Okay, alright. So the Grove is an ancient tradition. Alright, it's a stowed circle. So it used to be used in times before. What the Grove is, it specializes in... Okay, so you come to the Grove, either alone or with somebody, and you share your bullshit. You air your grievances, right? You take your stuff out, your dirty laundry, and you air it out, right? And this thing, you leave your bullshit in the ring, in the circle, in the Grove, right? You say your piece, your grievance, your situation, whatever, and you say it, and you express yourself fully, genuinely, and you do not hold back, right? Say whatever you need to say in the Grove, and say it to the people you need to say it to, whatever, and it's decided you leave that energy behind, that negative energy behind in the Grove itself, to be processed by the Grove. Because, why? Because that's what the Grove is designed for. That's what the Grove is built for. Just like a email client is designed to send emails, the Grove is designed to process bullshit. Right? So, when you have bullshit, you go to the Grove and you say it. Mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, you express it. So I had 6 people yesterday I brought to the Grove. 6 individuals. 2 individually, and 4 in pairs. Pairs of 2. First one was Nick. Nick was going through roommate issues, and basically the roommate issues were that he and his roommate were going through their own separate bullshit, but then they didn't have time for each other to deal with each other's stuff, so then they thought it was each other being mad at them. I was like, Nick, I have a feeling that she's not exactly mad at you, but you've been kind of acting in a way that she thinks you're mad at her, right? And she's been acting in a way where she's just reacting, and so you think she's mad at you, right? But actually you're both just busy doing your own things, and maybe it's not actually as big of a deal as you're thinking about, right? It's kind of just you're both dealing with life, right? And then he's talking about, okay, maybe. That's true. And then, even then that was fine. We got to the root of that issue, right? And then he starts talking about that he wants to do his art week, right? He just graduated school as a digital designer or whatever, trying to get into this graphic design program. And he wants to take a week and do like be a full-time graphic designer, like as pretend, right? To see what would happen, see what he can build in a week if he can dedicate himself to it. So I said, okay, that's interesting. So how are you going to try to set this week apart from the other weeks, right? How are you going to try to make it different? And basically we came to the conclusion that he needed a little totem like this, right? A little totem. So I said, here's what you do, Nick. And this is the other Nick Sheridan, right? Not me. I'm not talking in the third person. I told the story before. Someone's like, why are you referring to yourself in the third person, Nick? The Grove is weird enough. Now you're referring to yourself in the third person? I was like, no, man. I had other Nick in here. Other Nick Sheridan, right? Red-haired Nick. Right? Red-haired Nick. With nice, flowing, long red hair. It's amazing. So I said, all right, if you're trying to do this thing, man, if you're trying to make up a special week, trying to have something special accomplished, then you should try to create a little reminder about what you're doing, right? So that when you go through and you're at your party, or you're doing your thing, and you get distracted, right? And you want to come back to center, just look at your little bracelet. Because I said, what are you gonna do if you get distracted on your week, right? Because you don't have much time. How are you gonna not let the time slip by, right? And try to get something done, be productive. You said, well, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm not gonna smoke, I'm not gonna party, this and that, blah blah blah. And I thought, that's kind of like a diet that's being too restrictive, and you're kind of going to stop after like 3 days, right? So that's not good. You're setting yourself up for failure, Nick. Don't do it. So I said, instead of being so extreme and trying to think that you can't be any productive when you smoke or drink or do any of that, why don't you just tone it down, right? Be balanced, be like, balanced. And then like if you ever are partying and stuff like that and feeling unproductive, look at your wrist. Right? And don't necessarily have to go home, but look at your wrist, recenter yourself, refocus, and start talking to the people you're talking to about your tasks, right? About your projects, about your life, about your art week, about this, about that, right? Let your bracelet, let your totem bring you back to center. And I said, when you put this bracelet on, man, make a big deal out of it. Make a ritual. Come to the circle. Come to the Grove. Ask the Grove to power up your, little totem. And then ask it for help and guidance on this week, and make a little ritual out of it, and the Grove will give you the energy to move forward, right? So use the Grove, man. Look, it's right here, 30 seconds from your house. Use it, please. And he said, okay, Nick, I will. I said, all right, cool. He liked the Grove idea. So that was one. Then I was walking Nick back, right? And he said, all right, I'm about to go back and do my stuff. I said, okay. Then just by coincidence, here's Evie, walking the opposite direction, headed towards the Grove. I said, hey, Emmy, how you doing? I said, bye, Nick. I'm going to walk with Emmy here. Hop on with Emmy, and I said, hey, Emmy, you want to check out the Grove? And she said, okay. So me and Emmy go down to the Grove, and I start getting Emmy to open up. And Emmy's been through some issues lately. She doesn't like to talk about them, but they're very serious issues. And I'm not going to tell you about what they are exactly, of course, but she's going through some serious issues that she needs to deal with herself, right? Things that she should not be having to go through, right? And things that she's thinking are not that big of a deal, right? But are a big deal. She deserves much better than this, right? So these are the types of thoughts that she's working on, right? And this and that. We're talking about the Grove. I'm asking her to open up, but she doesn't like to open up, so I'm opening up for her. I'm guessing what her emotions are, and I'm trying to see. And she's building her little bouquet over there, just kind of listening to me, kind of just processing the data, this and that. Emmy's very cute girl, right? Very, very important to me, right? And so I'm trying to understand what she's going through so I can try to offer her some guidance and advice or whatever. And so I'm trying to summarize what I assume she's going through, just so I could see her reaction to that, to see if she's agreeing or disagreeing, wanting to refine what I'm saying, right? That's the approach here. Since she doesn't like to express herself, I express for her, and then she corrects, right, to see if I'm really onto what she's feeling or not. And so as she's building her bouquet, I'm interpreting her bouquet actions in terms of, symbolic actions, like which flower she's picking, what that might mean in terms of what she's going through, and this and that. She's liking that a lot, this bouquet analogy. And we got to the point that she's going through a transformation from what she used to be to now, right? And it's an important transformation for her. And this bouquet signified the transformation, the dandelions, about the rebirth and the regrowth. And so she collected her little bouquet, tied it up, and then we signified that this bouquet was like her transformational totem, right? So we created a little totem for her, and I wanted her to look at this bouquet and contemplate what it meant for these flowers to be both wild, diverse, beautiful, how they relate to her personal, what the colors mean, what the yellow means, she's blonde, and all this stuff, right? So that was very cool. Emmy was into it, right? We hung up the little flower. I took pictures with her with the bouquet, made a big deal out of it, and she felt better, right? 2 people down. Okay, then I did, who else was it? Two more people. Oh, Michael and Devin, right? Took Michael and Devin, the team, to the circle, talked with them. And then we got Jake's Ice Cream, right? Oh, and I told him that the circle is going to be a boon for Jake's Ice Cream because people are going to sit in the grove and then look on over, deal with their grievances, look on over to Jake's Ice Cream and realize, I just aired my grievances, feeling pretty good about myself. I wouldn't mind having a little ice cream right now, give myself a little treat, right? Then go to Jake's Ice Cream, come back to the grove, and eat the ice cream in the grove, right? That's what I did twice yesterday. It's a very amazing loop. So I ate too much ice cream yesterday because I took too many people to the grove. I didn't take too many people to the grove. You can never take too many people to the grove. 6 people in one day is an amazing grove trip, and I explained the concept of the grove to more like 10 people yesterday, maybe even 15. So in terms of testing product ideas, 15 people to test my product idea on yesterday is pretty good, and the reception by all of them was overwhelmingly positive. To use the grove as a functional element of our society, everybody was on board, and I told them all that the Druids used to do this, and they were into it. They're like, "Oh, who are the Druids? What is the stone circle? What is a grove?" But I like the fact that I can leave my bullshit here, and then everybody made the connection when you say we leave the bullshit, the grove processes bullshit, and then everybody says, "Oh, that's interesting. Shit makes grass grow." And they look at the grove and they look at the circle and they said, "The shit makes grass grow." I said, "That's right. That's how the grove works, right? You leave your shit behind, and it helps other things grow in the grove." That's the grove zen, man. It loves the bullshit, right? It just loves to process it. So that's the more bullshit you leave, the more is better. So then we took Sonali and Robert to the grove as well. Also did the Jake loop. I apologize to Sonali for being over controlling in certain respect, right? So I'm a very lax leader in most respects, but I like communication to be set up in a certain way, right? I like there to be a certain hierarchy of communication, of problem solving. It's like I like it to be structured like an emergent network. For example, Sonali comes to me if she has a problem. If I can't solve a problem, I go to Brian, right? We don't waste Brian's resources initially first, right? She comes to me if she needs something, and then I try to solve it, and if I can't solve it, I give it to Brian. That's how it should happen. Well, she's just started to work, and she doesn't know the drill, and we're friends, and so we're trying to figure out how it's going to work, right? And she emailed Brian yesterday, like, "Oh, I don't know if Nick's going to be there tomorrow. You're going to be there." I'm like, Sonali, don't do that. Because then that highlights the fact that I'm not at work. Girl, do not want to highlight the fact that I'm not here at work. I'm doing other things like taking people to the grove, right? I do not want other people to know I'm over here taking people to the grove and not programming computers, right? So, because the grove is programming a society, right? This is still my work. It's just a different type of work now today. I took people to the grove. Alright, then we did other things. We studied the Kowalski-Frost experiment. That's why the grove is so important. We talked about the Kowalski-Frost experiment in the grove. We need a high-frequency oscillator. We're going to try to hook up a quartz crystal to a high-frequency oscillator, put it in a 50-degree room, and see if it grows, like the 1919 Kowalski-Frost experiment says, right? So that's one current experiment. Another experiment I want to try is a Russell bar. Whoops. Little shiver on that one, Kowalski-Frost, huh? Another experiment I want to try is the Roselian bar magnet experiment, so the distribution of the planets. So I don't want to try that experiment. I want to make an art installation of the Roselian bar magnet cosmology or whatever, and I also want to make the quartz as an actual experiment. But basically I want to get some magnets. I want to get some magnets that Russell had. I get some magnets that these other guys had, right, to do the types of experiments and make art installations using the wacky physical phenomenon that they discovered, right? So that's going to be super interesting and productive. That started yesterday. Oh, yesterday as well, John asked me if I wanted to turn the studio back here into an Airbnb studio, meaning people come in and rent it for the entire night, the bottom floor for the entire night. Devin moves upstairs with me, and then they come in, we rent it out for $400 or $500 a night, right? For a weekend, we get $1,500 or something like that. So that's going to be a really big option. So why it's so significant is that John is expanding his business enterprise with me, wanting to explore other options, and he's wanting to guide and mentor me in the business process. So John is being a very, very good mentor partner here, and I'm totally into it and would like to pursue that partnership in all the nuances possible. So I need to do some work there, but I also need to do some work on this plot with this movie. So I've got several things to do, and I also am writing a paper that's due May 30th. It's currently about May 8th or 9th or something like that, so I do have to work on that soon, although that should move pretty quickly once I do start working on it. I got to do the evaluation section now, and then expand from there. So I do have a plan, but there are many things going on, and the Grove is the most exciting of them right now because I got 6 people there yesterday. So I'm not going to get 6 people to read this paper probably, and cite this paper probably. So the Grove is the most beneficial product that I'm selling right now. The AI will be part of the Grove, right, eventually. But yes, currently I'm prototyping the Grove, and things are going extremely, extremely well, right? Not just the aesthetics of the Grove, but the functionality of the Grove as a societal, as a key component of society, right? Introducing the Grove into our society, and it's going well.